I think we had a conversation behind the screen, and it was great catching up with all of you to understand what expertise all of you bring onto table. I know charting customer success from the boardroom to the bottom line is something which is very, very important from any product standpoint, any organization standpoint, right? So just to give a few glimpses before I start the conversation, I was talking to somebody and we were just asking everybody that what product or what does your organization sell? You know, and each one said, I sell this product, I sell product X, I sell product A, I sell product B, I sell product C, and they gave much more references. But there was one person who said, I sell experience. You know, and that's when I just took a break, and then I went back to him and asked him, why did you say that you sell experience? Aren't you selling a product A or B? And then he said that of late, experience has given so much prominence in the industry and so much prominence across the world that if you don't have experience, you don't have anything. You can't have repeat customer base. You can't fundamentally function and improve your revenues to 3x level. So keeping that in mind, I think I would want to start the conversation how experience is the most critical and the vital functionality for any organization to grow in terms of numbers and values, right? So my first question is to Rishi. Rishi, I know you bring in a lot of expertise in the sales background and you worked with Smart. The question is related to ROI. I think everybody is interested to know return on investment, right? So from the return on investment point of view, how do you measure ROI? That is one. And how do you balance your short-term cost with long-term benefits for CX? And if you can just share a case study, because you're from that segment, I'm sure you'll be able to explain much better than anybody else.
Yeah. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. As you mentioned that I have got around 26 years of experience in the communication space. I have spent around 14 years delivering customer engagement and experience solutions to enterprise like all the luminaries sitting on this stage. The biggest point is that when we look at ROI, first and foremost, we at SmartPink believe that investing in CX is not about putting money. It's about investment. First, you have to believe that this is an investment which will yield result. Just now I was here standing giving awards and I was listening to success stories of all the winners. And I remember one gentleman saying that we manage 50 million interactions of my customers. Imagine in a country like India, managing 50 million Hindi interactions. How much of manpower will it take? 50 million interactions. So what they did was they implemented a voice bot backed by human interface. So it's personalization and hyper-personalization plus building economies of scale through investment in technology. Because the customer experience, we as salespeople can be selling anything. All through my career I've been selling. But the customer will not stay, he will not stick till the time we are able to give him a wow experience. Wow customer experience. And the wow customer experience starts not only from our interaction, but how my organization takes care of his needs, where there are multiple touch points which the customer goes after the sale is done. I'm talking from a sales perspective. So if the customer comes in and we are not able to cater to his needs, I'm sorry, he will not stick. So if I say ROI, the ROI straightforward is between retaining a customer or losing a customer. So people think that we enhance the ROI, increase the ROI by 50%, 30%. I say it is the biggest difference between retaining a customer and losing a customer. So it's 100%. If you don't give him a good experience, nothing is going to happen. Secondly, when we implement tools, the kind of products which we offer like chatbot or the communication tools which we help B2B companies to reach out to their customers, just like Swiggy or any other organization like your Blue Cap. If I don't get the OTP on time, will I be able to get your cab? Or will the food be delivered on time? That's the criticality of communication, and that's the area where we should invest in. So if I say investments, It's just an organizational strategy which one has to put in and reap the benefits. Secondly, when I invest into these CX solutions, which I've been listening since morning, voice solutions, voice bots, chat bots, Gen AI, everything churns and gives me a lot of data points, which helps me define the strategy for any organization to move in either direction A or direction B. So all these new Gen AI tools help us give not only a better customer experience, but also help me build strategies around it. That's what we at SmartPing believe, and that's what we provide solutions for to the organization. We provide unified communication channels, be it SMS, WhatsApp, the recent RCS built-in, or voice bots or voice solutions. The experience is now becoming more complex in this jungle of information and technology which is there. So what we offer out here is omni-channel solution. We try and give the customer the right channel on which he would like to be reached out to. It's not necessary that you may be liking an SMS, she may be liking a WhatsApp, someone may just don't want to be bugged, she just wants to read an email for that communication. So that's how much the customer experience has evolved. And we provide those kind of technologies to provide organization like the people sitting out here in this room, take the solutions and give the solutions to their customers. And to be honest, ROI is the king. Customer is the king. He can fire you, your boss, and your CEO. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Just to put it in a nutshell, I think customer preference, customer segmentation, customer profiling, I think everything is very, very important to understand the ROI of the business, and return of investment does not come, just by doing some basic maths. So thank you so much for that information. So I think I'll pass on to the next question on strategy, what organizations use. You always have this big aspect in terms of management strategy getting aligned with customer expectations, right? Customer is expecting ABC and management strategy speaks about something else. So in that aspect, I want to pass on this question to Reena. She's the Senior Director of Operations for Acko, and she has varied experiences in this particular segment. And here goes to you, Reena. How do you identify and understand evolving customer expectations in your industry? What processes do you use to ensure customer feedback is actually integrated with your strategic planning?
Good evening, everyone. So I work with Acko. It's an insurance company. So when we talk about customer experience, I think we've been there in India who is a direct to customers, which is digital. So it's a very important space that we have taken over there, knowing the direct pain points of the consumer when it comes to buying or claiming an insurance, which is the most important product. Unlike daily delivery or orders that we place here, it is a product which is in a need. So here when we talk about customers' feedback, I think after moving from Swiggy to Acko, I had an opportunity to be really in the boardroom where I have been representing Acko as the Chief Grievance Officer. So here it truly matters to hear how the product is helping the consumer at the time of need, which is the claim, for which they pay. At least 70% of consumer never come for claims too. But the trust of why the product is required is what we work towards in the boardroom for building that trust. Having one seat, definitely wearing a customer hat, why we are buying, how is the product pricing placed, how easy the journey of the consumer that we are trying to build when it comes to claim. So today I was talking to Deepak, and he was telling if it is Acko, we've been seeing everywhere, but a dealer influences us which company to go with the insurance, because if anything happens, we easily call the dealer. I think here the effort that we are trying to put in is the change of you taking the complete control of the incident which is happening. All you have to do is notify us, as the technology is one of the things that we all are dependent on. All it takes is a click to report your claim, and we are right there. There is no interaction required with people, and it is fully 100% 100% digital. So even the buy journey is digital, and even our claims journey is digital. So that's one of the biggest transition, which we call a welcome change from Acko point of view. And when we talk about feedback, I think how we evolved from a traditional old way of understanding feedback through a CSAT, CES, or an NPS, we kind of have every touch point in digital side with us. So we don't repeatedly ask the same question of how is your experience with us. We have that sentiment analysis happening at every journey, how much time it has taken, whether the pain point of making a multiple payments has been there. So I think from a point of sending a feedback form, asking for set of questions very traditionally, I think we are also trying to adopt a place where what exactly is the pain point where the customer has stuck, and we tend to kind of dwell into asking more deeper questions, how it felt during the time of need for that particular process not being completed, and that's how we are trying to evolve integrating the customer's feedback in our processes.
Oh, I think thank you so much for covering the entire bit. I know I just hear you out, and you spoke of trust, reliability, and customer journey. Is what she spoke of, and I think it's an extremely important structured strategic planning you need to do at any organization to get this going. And for this to be done, and the next question goes to Nikhil. Nikhil, we speak of strategy, voice, we speak of experience, we speak of so many segments, right? How do you use these strategies, or how do you use these strategies in your experience bucket? You find various voices that is coming from various customers. How do you segment them and then integrate them so that your voice is captured, right? Can you just illustrate to us with an example?
Sure, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I come from Jupiter Money. We are a money management app, and we don't call ourselves as a bank because RBI has told that you're not a bank, but we still use the word neo-banking in our field of expertise. We have savings bank account, credit cards, mutual funds, and investments. VOCs is, of course, we still use the traditional option to capture VOCs. One is the contact center and the feedback service which we receive. We also have another way which we capture, which is called as communities, wherein it is open for everyone on the web. And we are one of the companies who put our product roadmap up front to all our customers, that what do you expect and what to expect in the next 2 quarters. Now that brings in transparency, that also brings in certain nuances to what people really want to see in a digital banking zone. Now, I'll just give you a very unique example. When we launched Jupiter, we never built a checkbook online flow. Now, why we did that was because in the boardroom, we decided, okay, how many people have actually issued check in the last 2-3 years, right? We are moving to IMPS, NEFT, RTGS, UPI. Does anybody use a checkbook anymore? I mean, I don't remember last time ordering the checkbook, unless I wanted to check the flow in the app itself. But we actually never built it. There was an offline process because that's a mandate from RBI, but we never had to build it. Then we started getting queries from customer that I need a checkbook. Why there is no option to build it, get it online. We went back to the drawing board, in fact, and we tried to figure out why does a customer actually need a checkbook. So while we have gone digitally very savvy, there is still section of the industry which is still primitive in nature, who require checks and all those things to be issued. So we spoke to these customers. So one thing which we always do is, whenever we get some more complaints or something, any unique thing which is happening which is not supposed to happen, we go back to the customer and understand his perspective. And we ask these customers, why do you need a checkbook? And trust me, 95% of the people wanted a checkbook to issue a cancelled check. So which was very tricky, which was an input which we otherwise wouldn't have got it. So we said, okay, if that is the case, we might as well solve it literally digitally. So we came up with a concept of download a digitally cancelled check. which is apparently accepted. Because anyway, wherever you have to set up a e-NASH or mandate, they ask you a photocopy of a check and then you just send it. We developed a check exactly the way the banking partner does it. We got it certified from the bank. RBI also gave a go-ahead. And that actually solved for that checkbook flow. Now that is one way that VOC inputs were actually strategized, not just to how to build a checkbook flow online. Of course, we had to build that flow finally because it was actually resulting into contacts to the service center. And we saw a drop, I mean, year on year we see a drop in that checkbook inquiries. So it started at 10%, it is less than 1% today. But that is one way which we achieved it.
I think that was such a beautiful example. I know we have these customer forums, what we have, and generally what happens is that what you perceive the customer wants and what actually the customer wants are two different things. So hence, articulating back to what Reena said and what Nikhil said, I think it's very, very important to capture voice and strategically align the right product. Coming back to strategically aligning the right product, the next question goes to Sunil. Sunil, there is always this fight between balancing customer experience effort, right? There is always a firefight, how much cost you want to get in, how you want to balance the entire segment, everything. So what indicators in your organization do you use to measure if you're over-investing or under-investing in a customer experience, and how do you measure it?
Yeah, thanks for that. See, let me start with this thing. Can you really measure a customer's love? Right? If you have to ask this question to your wife, remember every day you go ahead and ask that, hey, listen, baby, how much on a scale of 1 to 10 do you love me? What would be the answer that you would get, right? So, see, some things are like very cliched in all these things. And we at Groww believe that customer love is something that you can't put it behind the boundaries of numbers or NPS or all these things, right? These things there has to be a natural love for the brand, for the people. And, cost balance, this is a question that we've been asked a lot of times, and I feel that what is the need of the balance, right? You are in a service industry, you are making a product for the customers, just be lopsided, just make the product, just do something that customers love, and all your ROIs, all your money, everything, whatever, your balance sheets, everything would be taken care of, right? So, we have not built any product which customer didn't want us to make, right? We embarked our journey 8 years ago when we started up with mutual funds. Quickly we realized that direct mutual funds is something that's something that people would like. Now just imagine that launching a direct mutual fund wherein you're not getting even a single bit of commission. Is it the right thing for us to do? But that was purely coming from a customer love perspective. We wanted to basically simplify the investments in India. It's just 8% of the population of our country which invests in capital markets, and which is like, we have a lot of scope there. And so we started with mutual funds, we went direct, then we started with stocks, then we came up with FNO, and all these things, mind you, happened because customer wanted it, and we felt that there is a big need wherein we can just bridge the gap and make things very simple. Investing is very, very boring thing for a lot of people, right? Like you're doing SIP every month, the money is getting, it's a very monotonous process and all that. And we decided and we came up with one thing, which is that, and this is a lingo that we use at our place as well, that user ko maza aana chahiye, right? And that's what we've been building our products. We've been trying to amplify everything through that. And we also realized that, see, we are into investment business. There's a fintech company which is there. We have our presence digitally, but to ensure that there is a lot of trust and people can relate to us, we need to go ahead and meet people. And it's difficult to get everybody from all the nook and corner of the country to your office, right? So we started off with something which is called Ab India Karega Groww, wherein we have covered like 200 plus geographies within the country. We have been to these places. We go there, we have a session, we interact with people, and the experience is amazing. And now just think of it from a balance side of view. Your financial controllers would say that you're mad going to these places and doing all these activities, but look at the trust that it has come up with. And we have stories. I can tell you why I always wear a Groww merchandise, and there is a story behind that. I was once about to miss my flight. I was wearing a Groww t-shirt, and the CISF guys who basically scan you and all that in the at airports, they said that, "Are you working for Groww?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Come here. I have this one thing." I said, "I'll tell you about all these things, but right now I'm missing my flight." We took that person's number. We helped him. We ensured that he's able to embark his journey, a financial journey, and have no problems. And imagine the love that he showed. He said that कभी भी अगर airport पे आ रहे हो और flight miss हो रही है तो भाई को call कर लेना. And that's the kind of love that you have, right? We go to places I remember we went to Jodhpur, and there was one guy who came in and he just prostrated in front of us while we were doing this, Ab India Karega Grow, and he said that you guys have changed my life, right? The way I've been able to invest, make a capital and all that. We don't give any advice. We provide a lot of content. We give a lot of education, but now, if I had to look at it from a balance standpoint, it would have been very difficult to generate this kind of a love, right? You can't have frictions when you are in an industry which is so customer-centric. You can't have people, you can't just be relying on ROI कि यार इसमें करेंगे तो इसमें कितना मिलेगा, right? Wherein only 6% or 8% of people are of overall market of overall population are investing. There's a huge scope. You will earn a lot of money. Okay, so I feel that a lot of times balance is something which is a very abused word. You should just, if you're in a product base or a service kind of an industry, you should just go for what your customers want, how much love you can generate. Don't try to manage it through the NPS. That's a good indicator. But then what people are saying, what people are talking, what they actually feel about your product, what are the stories behind it, are certain things which are very, very important. And that is the way to make formidable products and long-lasting products and create a lot of happiness with the people. And at the end of the day, user ko maza aana chahiye. So balance would be taken care of.
I think rightly said, right? Somebody was also telling me the other day, one of the founders of BluSmart was telling me that people need to feel the product, not use the product. So there is a difference between using and feeling the product, and that's what Sunil has articulated it beautifully well. So talking about that, I think a bigger, thank you so much. Yeah. So a bigger aspect again, everybody at any stage, right? People keep saying that customer service is a cost center. So I predominantly don't accept it anymore now. So I keep telling my management every now and then that, experience is no more a cost center. Experience is a revenue generating center and no more a cost center. So keeping that in mind, the next question goes to Sourav. Sourav, this is all about impacting customer service investments on business performance. I think this is something which everybody would like to know. How do you do it in Lenovo? And can you just provide us examples of how customer service improvements have led to measurable business outcomes, and how do you justify CX investments to the board members?
Yeah, thank you for having me here and taking the cue from Sunil about the love, loyalty and trust. Everything is based on that, right? Every company and every individual is working towards that. So I believe in that, and I think that's a journey we also faced during the pandemic when we learned that immaturity of doing business and maturity of changing the business is both working for individuals and large organizations. Now, answering to your question, I think I should split it into two parts. One is the people part and one is the process part. So when you look at the people, like example, we have been through a full working office mode, then we moved to a hybrid mode, and then partially 3x2 mode to a certain extent for the team members. But you observe the millennials, the Gen X, we were not sure that how they will deliver with those equipments and the interactions. But we saw that they were delivering much better. And that has given us a courage to build the strength through a growth pipeline, through the same skill set team. And then we developed a skills taxonomy where a level of people at a junior level can deliver to a certain extent, and as they grow, they can deliver higher skill set. And that learning mode has given us a low attrition ratio also in the later phase of time. So that's a cost to savings approach. Another thing we observed is in the process part, when we look at the demand from the customers, it's very dynamic. It is changing, and it is changing not only from the product usage experience, but by 24/7, how the customer is involved in their own business and their ROIs. So we have observed a couple of things like chatbot we brought in. It was a good success story. We brought GenAI solutions to minimize the average handling time. And it was a great success story in the whole process of handling the customer through different channels. In fact, we have implemented a couple of solutions towards the voice-to-speech and speech-to-text analytics, and that has given us insights where to pull the lever and how to pull the lever based on customer persona. And enterprise to consumers, all the customers are demanding different deliveries at different markets. So when we look at that, we move to a 24/7 multilingual process of a delivery model, and that also given us a good edge of doing business differently. And also a couple of things which we observed during this phase of transition or transformation is, one, when customer is demanding something, and if you are understanding what they need and you can deliver to the need of the customer at the right time, we found that the speed of resolution and the accuracy and quality of resolution also matters most. And that we started measuring from the number of interactions per customer, per agent, and how they deliver that in a longer period of cycle. And that has also brought us different internal stories, like you all colleagues mentioned about this. In our office also, we brought bulletins, newsletters, and started talking about those heroes, how they change the customer experience at different levels. And that has motivated the other people to work more effectively, and that has given us a chance to do better.
Thank you so much. To just put it in a nutshell, I think a lot of organizations are moving into what the employee wants and how the employee can manage it beautifully well for the organization with 100% commitment. I think they dwell on this first, and then they start looking at technology integrations and every single example what Sourav gave, right? So coming to that, moving on is the next part, stakeholder management. I think even today, right, when we talk of sales and experience, sales always comes first and then experience comes second. But now the logic has changed. Sales and experience both are equal and both are prioritized. And there are times when I've had these discussions in the boardroom saying that experience need to take an upper edge than sales. You know, if you can't deliver experience, you can't deliver sales. This is something which I keep talking in the board. So here goes this question to you, Kalyani. A lot of times you have commitments in terms of stakeholder engagement, right? Ownership is completely missing. People don't understand, or people keep questioning the team synergies that are there across the management, right? The question to you is, can you share some best practices, what you have done in the current organization for breaking down silos and fostering a culture of teamwork around CX, effective stakeholder collaboration? If you can give us some examples.
Sure. So I think I'm currently heading customer experience for Tanishq, but I'll talk from a Titan perspective so that you guys understand why Titan is what it is. As an organization, I think the first question each employee who works has to answer, and that we put into force by our leaders to answer, is who is owning the customer? Who is this person who is owning this particular customer? And everybody from the frontline staff till the CEO, everybody has to answer that question. And everyone does answer that question. So the key to actually getting the stakeholder management done correct is having open, transparent, and active communication. So there is no tera mera, there is no, my department is not taking care of this, there is no, your department is not, it's a broken service, it's a broken service. If it's a broken service, there is a line that has gone on, that has built right from the root of where the raw materials are procured till the final output that came out to the customer, and the transaction then happened at the sales end. So there's everybody working in the organization who's contributed in some way or the other to ensure that the customer finally paid his money and felt satisfied that he found what he came looking for. So when that came into being, and that's how I think as a part of eyewear, I was a part of a sales manager team. And yes, you're very right. I asked this question, ye sab karte rahenge to sale kaun karega, is something that I've also asked at some point in time. But, at that point, our head of CX was Mr. Javed, and he asked this question to us, who owns this customer? And he actually put us up, and we started having discussions. And how we started using NPS was we started studying what the customer felt a little troublesome in the eyewear industry, and we started questioning the factory. We started questioning the sales team. We started questioning the commercial team. We started understanding nuances of what each team's limitations are. We identified whether we need to change a policy, or we needed to change the communication to the customer. Or do we need to find out certain places where we took a stance as a brand, or we started, coming up with descriptions in terms of do we change the entire manufacturing process altogether. So one such instance was we changed the way our, those computer lenses that we call blue lens. We changed the entire manufacturing process. That entire process was born only about a month and a half before, when we had to redo the entire construction format for it. And then we came back with a solution that actually helped us in serving the customers better. And to, reel it towards jewelry, where I am currently right now, I think a lot of us, here as the stage also we climbed up, right? We climbed up a stairs. Even in an event, we don't think about putting up a ramp wherein, if people aren't able to use the stairs, how would they use? And it doesn't come to us naturally. So there was a customer who said, I've been telling your store guys for so long, senior citizens are not able to climb up this ramp, and what would you do about it? And when we actually heard the customer right, we went back to our IRSG team, our development team. We sat down with them, and today it's a norm. Every new store that's coming up has to have a facility for putting in the ROM. The ramp, or a facility for specially able people to, come into the stores, because it is a more and more inclusive world that we are entering into, and it's not okay to tell people you just can't come into the store. It's not okay. So that's where we've started forming norms from where these have started happening. And in a nutshell, now I think we have weekly cadences where, people, representatives from different departments, be it marketing, be it merchandising, be it retail, be it visual merchandising, be it commercial. All of us come together and put our heads and thoughts into both. What's coming new into the market, and what can each one of us give best that the customers can take from there, and what is it that's breaking as a service, and where any of our policies have a restriction. Do we need that restriction? Okay, we need it, then what can we do to work around it? We don't need it, then let's just throw it out the window. Let's come and get in with something else new. And this has now become a communication pattern across the organization, and not just isolated brands that we work with within the firm. So I hope that helps you, give a perspective on how we at Titan and at Tanish think right now.
Absolutely, because I think everybody owns customers. In fact, everywhere in the organization, at every single organization, I see this change. And this change is beautifully driven at a top-down level. I think it's a top-down approach. Everybody at a founder level, at a CXO levels, has to drive this potentially to the last level segment of people in the organization. I think all of us own all customers, whichever company we are working for, right? So going to the next question goes to Deepak. The question, I know we were from Swiggy. I think everybody knows Swiggy. Everybody orders food from Swiggy. So this is related to business operations and decision making. So which is a very, very important piece. I'm sure everybody would love to hear from Deepak. Can you share some tools and technologies you find most useful for embedding CX into operational workflows?
Sure. I actually disagree with a lot of the co-panelists here, right? We spoke about how at times you just do what the consumer wants or what the consumer loves, right? We did speak a little bit about, retention that's driven when you deliver good customer experience. I think when it comes to sales or business and customer experience, they don't have to speak two different languages, right? And when it comes to translating customer experience from the boardroom down to the ground, right, to business operations teams, I think it's important to develop a common currency which everyone understands, right? And I'll give you an example, or a few examples on that front, right? Whenever your order is delayed by Swiggy, right, there is a likelihood that you will come back, there's a less likelihood that you will come back to Swiggy to order, right? Or let's say if you order with Swiggy 10 times in a month, there's a good likelihood that you will actually drop that frequency and order only eight times in a month, right? And that science is something that customer experience teams need to establish, right? Every time you have a bad experience with a customer service agent, we actually see that your repeat rates, your retention actually drop, right? So I think when you talk about converting customer experience to business operations strategies and tactics, it's important to first bring this discussion up in the boardroom, saying if I do this on customer experience, if I spend $100 on solving this particular customer experience issue that the customer has, this is the kind of additional volume that I'll get. This is the kind of additional price I can charge to a consumer, right? So typically we kind of look at NPS, CSAT, right, customer effort score. To be honest, I think the customer experience team is very passionate about it, loves to talk about it. Maybe one or two other people in the boardroom love to talk about it. But honestly, the sales head sitting here just doesn't care, right? They will mention that, yeah, we should be putting our NPS up, we should be chasing a certain CSAT score. But unless you develop that common currency, you are not going to succeed at translating this into business operations actions on the ground. I think the second point is, generally when you put money behind customer experience, the easiest one to do is when your sales are going to go up and your customer experience is also going to become better. Let me give you an example. When you go to the Swiggy app, I can show you 10 restaurants which have the best offers, 50% off, right? But if those restaurants actually deliver a bad experience to you, let's say they are 3 out of 5 rated, right? There's a good likelihood you will remember that experience and not come back and order on Swiggy, right? So the easiest thing to do is to combine both, saying, hey, this is going to take my sales up, this is going to better my customer experience, followed by, it will not do anything to sales, it will not hurt sales, but it will take my customer experience up. That's also an issue area because you have limited bandwidth in the organization, you need to put effort, you need to put engineering effort behind it. So that's level 2. The real battle is when you are actually taking some hard short-term calls in order to better your customer experience. I'll give you an example. I can actually take all of the delivery times that you see on the app and shrink them by 10 minutes. You will see that instead of 30 minutes, this place is going to deliver to me in 20 minutes, right? You will be inclined to order. Immediately, you'll get a sales bump. But you experience it 5 times that, hey, actually it was delayed 4 out of 5 times, you will not come back. Those are the toughest calls when it comes to customer experience. And those calls, unless, again, going back to the common currency, if you don't have that common currency, you will not be able to take those calls. You will never have the boardroom aligned to be able to take those calls. And why is it important to align folks in the boardroom? Is unless they speak the language of customer experience, saying, hey, let's do ABC on customer experience, the teams below will never do it, right? And lastly, I think the kind of business that food tech is, right? It's a very hyper-local business, hundreds of cities, right? And even Bangalore, for us, for example, we treat it like 80 cities, right? Bangalore is so huge. If you actually want to win customer experience, you have to fight the battle at a hyper-local level, right? You have to win in Koramangala, you have to win in Indiranagar, you have to win in every zone in Bangalore. So once that boardroom alignment happens, you actually see a lot of this also being imbibed by the teams on ground. And how do you make it very simple for them? I think 3 or 4 things work beautifully. Don't throw 20 customer experience metrics at them saying improve A, B, C, D, E, F. That's very complicated for them, right? It's maybe 20% of their life. They also have to deliver bottom line. They have to deliver top line. So make it simple for them. It helps to create a lot of FOMO across different teams, saying, hey, City, Patna team did ABCD, great job on customer experience, right? You actually tell that to someone in Bangalore and they'll be like pumped to go and do those same things. So that also helps. And finally, I think it is important that everyone holds a goal on customer experience. It's not going to happen on its own. We talked about sales, right? Sales teams are driven by a certain set of KRAs, incentives that get attached to those. That's how you will also have to drive customer experience on ground. So I think maybe summarizing 3 things. First, get the buy-in at the boardroom level, get your common currency in, and then it kind of translates down to the ground level.
No, absolutely. You're bang on that particular aspect. I also believe, one thing which I do it deliberately and I tell my team also to do is that any voice that comes in from customer service has potentially 3 aspects. One is people issues, tech issues, product issues. If you actually drill down to the last level of why it has come and how you can eliminate it, you sort out a lot of issues at a management level. And then getting back to the board and telling the board to help you solve the problem becomes much more easier and much more faster and effective. So saying this, I would want to lead this question next to Reggie. I know you head the entire customer service team and you have a large business to handle. So one thing about experience is that it doesn't come to everybody naturally. Right? It's not a natural skill that everybody acquires. It is not sustainable. You need to push it. You need to pull through it. So one question is, can you share any successful initiatives or programs that has helped embed a customer-first mindset across your teams on customer experience?
Sure. So good afternoon, everyone. So I represent Kinara Capital, which is a NBFC who believes in a phygital model. So we have heard a lot about fintech models wherein a lot of technology is being used and less of human interactions, right? So from our perspective, definitely that human touch points gives a lot of way in terms of ensuring better customer experience. At Kinara Capital, we believe that to start with, ensuring that everybody believes in that customer experience or the total experience that they feel doing the business with us, we ensure that we foster a customer-centric culture in the organization. So when I talk about bringing in this culture aspect, it always starts with your internal customers who are your employees. So from that aspect, we ensure that, or we believe that only happy employees can actually bring in a lot of happy customers, right? And this is what we believe, and this is one of the strategies what we ensure that our internal customers are definitely very happy. A motivating environment is being set. Employee-centric approach is being brought in. Apart from that, bringing from a strategy perspective from the boardroom to the bottom line, definitely the repeat customers or the business from repeat customers is something which we religiously ensure that it is part of the business plan which we create during the financial year. So which means that everybody's KRA is to ensure that the customers are happy and they are going to come back to us. From the customer care team perspective, definitely what a customer requires or what he wants to experience is from a query perspective or from a suggestion or perspective is to ensure that there is somebody to give him response at a faster pace. Quick response is what is required, right? So from that aspect, what we also do is that the turnaround time in terms of addressing a service request from a customer what we do is that we integrate this particular aspect to the KRAs and KPIs of the agents, the customer service agents, and they are definitely monitored or they are even incentivized on these aspects. And it's not always that we look at a lot of human interventions. We also bring in a lot of technology or a lot of automations that we have done in terms of our routine requirements. Let's say from a financial services industry, be it a reminder call or a welcome call, which is basically routine in nature. So all these aspects, what we have brought in is that we have ensured that we bring in a lot of technology and automation where robotic, vernacular telecalling options are provided. And we also have the IVR options and all those stuff. And the routine work is handled by the robots or the automated processes, whereas the agents can actually spend a lot of time in terms of ensuring that the personalized touch is given for any detailed query or a question of the customer. And as such, as most of you guys had mentioned, we also ensure to take the voice of the customer through the NPS or your CSAT surveys and whatever suggestions that the customer has given to the organization definitely gets discussed across the design meetings. When I talk about design meetings, that is where the products that we serve is getting designed. So all these aspects we do bring in on the board or on the table for the design discussion teams to discuss about and then ensure that the products are streamlined in such a way. So our customer centricity is not only from a personalized aspect manner, but also from a lot of technology being used and the personalized services which we provide. Even from a credit underwriting model perspective, though we use a lot of automated tools in terms of loan decisioning, we still have people on the field who can give doorstep service. We also have the credit underwriting team who do the personal visits wherein the customer's voice is heard at that level and we can provide the customer with tailor-made products. So all these aspects definitely have given us a lot of good aspects to the organization wherein our NPS stands around greater than 90% and also greater than 1/4 of our regular business comes from the repeat business. So these are a couple of things wherein we ensure that across the organization, across the value chain, we ensure that the customer centricity is the key.
Thank you so much. So I'll just move on because the time's up for the